first time today in C342946, State of Nevada versus Randy Tyrone Davis. Mr. Davis is present with his standby counsel. Mr. Klaus, Chief Deputy District Attorney Ms. Collins is present. When we were leaving on Friday, I asked you guys to come in at 12:45 because the jury's coming in at 1, so we could take up any issues outside of their presence that needed to be discussed. Do you guys remember that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
So, the only issue the state has, Your Honor, is Adrian Walker is now in Hawaii, so I'm going to be requesting that she testify via video. I'm going to have all that information for the court. Mr. Conrad is typing it right now.
Okay. All right, understood. So I'll look at that when that comes. I'm just trying to remember. I should have written myself a note. There was a specific thing that we wanted to hammer out, though. If you guys remember when we left on Friday.
I do, and I meant to write it down. Let me see if I did.
Do you remember what it was?
One was the statute of limitations for the grand jury indictment.
There was no written motion regarding statute of limitations.
Yes, it was brought up overly, and you said you would look into that.
No, although there was one.
I do have a motion, and I filed one. Also, Your Honor, when I was remanded in jail, the first time I went down there, they took my property. They lost my briefcase. They lost my backpack. The jailers know it took like 2 hours to find it, and they kept me in booking while they looked for it. They had all my other property, they couldn't find it. So they found it, but obviously I never got that back. They put that in my property.
Wait, I'm sorry, we gotta break this down. So you're talking about when you were remanded in custody last week?
Yes, when you had me remanded in custody Thursday for the psychological evaluation.
Right, okay.
When I went there, I had my stuff. I mean, my stuff obviously was left up here.
Right.
So when they brought it down here and they were booking me, I asked the clerk, "Where's my briefcase and backpack?" And she said she has no idea. They haven't seen it.
Right.
And then one of the sheriffs came up to me. He said, "Yeah, I think we have it, but we got to find it." They then looked for my stuff for approximately 2 hours and found it. The next day I came to court. Obviously they didn't give it to me. They put it in my property, so I never saw what was in there, what they brought, or whatever. So now when I come back to court Friday, when I was frantically looking for some things, I didn't know if it was missing or whatever was in my car or nothing. So I basically looked over my stuff, and it seemed like everything was there. Then when I went back into custody, which they had me in solitary confinement.
You mean on Friday after I had released you, but you had to go back to get booked out? Is that what you're talking about, to get processed out?
I didn't get processed out. They took me back to solitary confinement.
Okay.
To a room, and I had all my stuff that was from court, which was fine and dandy. Approximately, they woke me up at 6 a.m., told me they're going to cash me out, book me out. I was taken down to led by an officer with a couple of other inmates. They took all my property. I asked them, "Can I keep my legal papers? Because, you know, I want them with me. I don't want them anywhere." The officer says it's not allowed. You can't have those. But we have a locker you can store your stuff in and it'll be secure.
Okay.
So he took me to this locker. I went to open the locker, and there was no lockers. I told the officer that all the lockers was full of stuff. He says, "Okay, put your stuff on top of the locker." I said, "On top of the locker?" I said, "These are my legal papers." I said, "This is my Bible. I can't put it on top of it." He says, "You put them on top, or you're going to stay here and not be released." So obviously, I listened to the officer, put my paperwork on top, right in the open. They then take me into a holding room, and I stay there for about 2 hours. I come out, they give me all my paperwork, they process me out. Now, I don't get a chance to look at my paperwork. They don't let you look at paperwork or what you've got or whatever. So they're basically processing me out. I get home and find out about 25% of my paperwork is gone. And not only is 25% of my paperwork is gone, my hotel receipts from California, my flight, My tournament records, I have none of it. My tournament records prove where I was. I called the jail, they said they have no idea. My stuff has been missing. The stuff that will prove that I'm innocent, from tournament records to all that, I don't have it. I no longer have it. So I'm asking this court to call this a mistrial because my stuff is missing. And it's to no fault of mine.
Well, why can't you just go get other copies?
Your Honor, it takes time, so you get one, I'll show you an example of something.
First of all, was this evidence that you were going to use in your case in chief with your witnesses?
Yes,
Okay, had you turned it over to?
I
the
was gonna
state?
turn everything over, I even got an envelope, see, I even had it. Because I didn't get a chance to do it because I was in jail 2 days, but I even got an envelope here that says, I'll show you. I was turning over everything to the DA that I had.
I know, but the point is you have to turn in evidence, that type of evidence 5 days before trial.
Your Honor, I was in jail, it was hard to turn it in.
No. You were not in jail 5 days before your trial. You were out of custody on house arrest.
Your Honor, these are things like, I'll show you what I said. I had all these too. See, this is part of what some of the stuff I got. Letters, and I had flight tickets, and I had tournament receipts. I'll show you what one of the tournament receipts look like. Those show where I'm at.
Okay, but I guess what I'm confused about, sir, is I'm trying to understand the relevance of these things because no specific date has been given, right? So it's not like, let's say she said, okay, on December 18th of 2016, this happened. And then you had a tournament stamp that said on December 18th of 2000, whatever, that would be relevant, right?
Right.
But no one has said that.
Your Honor, I explained, we talked about this situation before. When tournaments in California or Vegas have tournaments, it's called a tournament series. These series go from anywhere from the World Series obviously goes 60 days. Smaller series go 30 to 40 days. Some of them in California, some are 2 weeks. Some are 3 weeks, some are 4 weeks. So if they have a wide range of dates dating back, say, hypothetically speaking, 2015 or whatever, and I can prove that from 2015 to all the way to 2016, basically, they're saying, I got proof that I was not in this state in 2014, basically.
The whole year.
Not the whole year. Not the whole year.
Okay, but that's what I'm trying to say to you, is that there haven't been any specific dates about 2014 where she has stated, this happened on this date.
Well, basically, they're saying that their case is based on 2014 when they haven't found any proof to even put me in the state of Nevada in 2014. There's no proof. But I have proof that I wasn't, and I got a witness that's going to say I was in California.
Okay.
So basically,
That's an
the
alibi
state-
witness, right?
Yes.
Was that person noticed as an alibi witness?
Yes, he's on there.
Who was it?
Fred Wolf.
Okay. Ms. Collins, any representations to make in regards to this?
Fred Wolf was noticed by Mr. Mueller as an alibi witness. That was withdrawn. It was also stricken based on the fact that it contained nothing substantively. He gave me an informal witness list here in court. Again, there's no suggestion in that handwritten list that this person's gonna testify to a specific date range and when he was out of town. No notice of alibi was filed. That's my position.
And then, I'm sorry, in regards to these records about 2000,
Well, it's kind of difficult because I don't know what he's referring to. I mean, he's talking about some poker tournaments, and then he's talking about other documents that he wasn't really clear about. I agree with the court regarding, the poker tournament paperwork, but But I don't know what other documents he's referring to, so if he wants to make a record, if he's missing discovery, if it's something that we can give back to him and duplicate for him,
Sure.
then.
Okay, so let's talk about what exactly is missing.
I'm not missing discovery. I'm missing my, also.
No, we're gonna stay on topic.
Okay.
What are you missing?
I'm missing flight tickets, I'm
Okay.
missing car
Okay,
rental.
flight tickets, from where, when,
From-
to when?
From the airport here to LAX, from the airport here to Long Beach, I'm missing that stuff.
Okay,
I
when?
keep- It's from 2014.
Okay, and it's showing you're gone for how long?
Well, it don't show, then it shows a rental car. I got a rental car with Hertz. I would go in leave Nevada, leave Nevada, fly into LA. I need a car in LA, because the tournaments are a different stop. And also, when you talk about tournaments, if I go to LA, I wouldn't go for one tournament, I would go there and stay 2-3 months.
Okay, but how are you gonna get any of that in?
Well, I can't get it in, how am I gonna
If
get it
you
in?
had it, yeah, if you had it, how would you get it in?
Well, Fred's gonna testify.
Okay, but Fred can't testify to documents, okay? So do you have a custodian of records for the hotels, for the airplane?
Yes, I can get that.
Okay, so this is the problem, sirs. You haven't notified, you haven't noticed any of those individuals. So if I wanna get a hotel record into evidence, I have to have a custodian of record from that hotel to lay a foundation that say, I'm the custodian of records, in my ordinary scope, of course, of my business, I keep these records. This is a record, this is a fair and accurate depiction of this record, and then it's moved in. So I'm trying to understand how you were going to get these documents in. Now, a person like Fred, if he comes in and says, oh, I was with him on these dates, that's a little bit different. But Fred can't bring in documents, just like you can't bring in documents.
Fred's not gonna bring in documents.
You can't show Fred a document and then that document come into
Okay,
evidence.
I understand.
So I'm trying to understand exactly what documents you felt you were missing that you were gonna be able to bring into evidence in this case.
Okay, I guess, Your Honor, what I'm trying to say here is, the DA, Stacey Collins, has been put at a really good advantage.
Okay, no, that's not what we're talking about right now. I need you to explain to me what documents are missing.
I just told you.
Okay,
I
so
just said
plane
tournament
tickets?
records, airplane receipts, and car rentals. I had it all.
And where did you get those?
Where I had them. I never throw away nothing. I keep all my stuff from years ago. Even this stuff, mails, I keep it from years. I never throw away hardly anything.
All right.
Just for my taxes and stuff like that.
And so you had proof that you had flown to California in 2014 and rented a rental car,
Yeah, I'm
two
pretty sure it was,
times, correct?
pretty sure it was Hertz.
so
Hertz and Enterprise.
two flights to California and
Well-
two rental cars?
Yeah, sometime I drove, Your Honor, but sometime I drove to California, it depends on, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And I didn't look at the date of the rental car, I didn't look at the date of the flight, I just know that I had flight tickets and rental cars.
Okay, but if you can't tell me that these documents are so important and then tell me you don't know the dates.
I didn't look at the dates of none of this stuff.
Well, is it 2014?
I just brought in everything, even these, I don't know what year they are. I
Okay,
just
so you
brought
have
in-
no idea what document, how do you know what documents you're missing if you can't even tell me what the documents look like?
Your Honor, I know their car rentals, so,
But you don't know what year?
well, I would assume that, I mean.
No,
when
we can't assume. Do you know what year?
Your Honor,
No, yes or no, do you know what
no, I
year?
don't know the exact year.
You just told me, sir, this is why I get a little bit frustrated with you. You just told me that you were gonna present documents to this court and to this jury that would prove you were not in Las Vegas in the whole year of 2014.
I didn't say the whole year.
I just asked you if you knew what year those plane tickets were for and the rental car, and you told me you don't know what year. Do you see how that's frustrating?
Your Honor, I'm pretty sure it's 2013, 14, or 15. They're all from that year. All from those years. I cannot pinpoint exactly what year I put in it. All I know is I went in my records and got every year like
Okay,
this.
then how do you know it's missing?
Because I don't have it here.
So it's in an envelope like that.
No. This is, see, basically grabbed everything. If you look at these, this is 2014. This is 2015. And I baked 2016 here.
Can I see one of those,
Yes.
Marshall Kelly, please? Because I can't see them here. Okay, so basically what I'm seeing, what is in front of me so nothing's been opened from Eastgate. And then there's 2 empty envelopes from Metro. These are February of 15 and April of 15. The envelopes from Eastgate are 2015, 2015, 2017, 2014, 2014, one that I can't read, 2014, 2014, 2014, 2014, 2014, 2015, and 2015, which are all bills of your lease for your apartment in Las Vegas for the years 2014, 2015.
Yes, Your Honor, the relevancy of that is they weren't open, these letters are not open, and I got more. They're not open because I was not there to open them. That's why they have never been open. So, I was in California, they were never open, and I got all kinds of letters and stuff like that that hasn't opened, because obviously if I'm in California, I cannot open my mail.
So how are you gonna get those into evidence?
I guess I'm not. But, Your Honor, so basically, I'm saying the DA, Stacey Collins, has had an unfair advantage. First off.
Okay, wait, hold on, we have to do things, you wanted a mistrial because of what? Because of your missing
Documents.
and what you're missing is, we talked about 2 flight receipts and 2 car rental receipts. You're not sure of the dates, but that show you were in California, correct?
Yeah,
I just need you, when I
right,
ask a
correct,
question, yes or
correct,
no.
Your Honor.
I have that part correct, right?
Right.
But you've never noticed a custodian of records for either the car rental company or the airline to get those records in. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So your motion for a mistrial, I need you to lay a legal foundation for me why you believe a mistrial should be granted.
Yeah, you know, I think with the crime, the charges I'm facing, I think every document is very important. If I can show where my whereabouts is in California, or the most important thing wasn't the flight, wasn't the car rental. I think the most important thing was my tournament records, which I can produce so many tournament records. It would put me in California in 2014, basically 7-8 months.
Okay. And how were you going to get those in?
I was going to give them to the DA this morning. I got a file right here with her name on it that was, although she don't talk to me or nothing like that, or I can't send her things, but I did. I'm trying to see where I did that.
So the issue is, sir, we are now beginning our 2nd week of jury trial. You cannot hand the district attorney a bunch of documents in the middle of trial. So if you wish to call a witness who will discuss you being in California in and out in the terms of 2014, obviously I think that that's something that you can do. But in regards to documents, I'm still trying to figure out what documents you believe were coming in. You told me that if I went on the internet, when we were talking about something in a previous calendar, you stated, Judge, if you were to go on the internet and you were to Google, you would be able to see all of the tournaments that I've been in and what dates they were.
You will be able to see the ones you cashed in. They don't show losing ones. So say if I play a tournament and I don't make the money, I make nothing. So say I put up my $1,000, I play the tournament, but I don't make it to the end. They won't show that. So say if I play a tournament and then I make it, say it's a $500 tournament, and say I make $2,000, they will show that.
So if I Google right now, it's not going to show me all the tournaments you've been in?
No, it won't show you every tournament. It will show you only the ones I cashed.
Okay. So.
But tournament directors keep records of this tournaments. So say if I'm at the Bicycle Casino in California, or even the Venetian, if I enter a tournament, tournament directors they keep records. They know who entered their tournament,
Okay, and then,
and we are giving a receipt.
and then those tournament records that you had showed that you were in various tournaments in 2014, right?
Right.
So my questions for you is, one, that's definitely gonna show that you were in and out of California over a period of time in 2014, right? But since the alleged victim Vanessa never testified to specific dates, help me understand like the relevance of that.
The relevance of that, Your Honor, is I got Fred Wolf that he's been my key witness because I never had a place to stay in California.
Right.
If you looked at the sheriff thing, his address is on there. I had a key to his house. Whenever I went to California, I stayed with him. Now, sometimes I'd play a tournament overnight, and I would just crash at a hotel or whatever. But I stayed with him. The reason I stayed with Fred Wolf for so long is I was part of his family, basically. He used to keep foster kids. So
I understand, but try to keep on the
right. So
date,
so I stayed at his house, and I was given a key. But the reason I was in California in 2014 so long is because his wife, Pauline Wolf, was dying of cancer. And he basically needed someone to help, stay around, support. Fred at that time must have been like 81 or something like that. Now he's 86. He was unable to drive around to the casinos and everything, so I helped him with yard work. Obviously, I came and went as I pleased. I stayed. Basically, I had my own room. I had my own key.
Look, stay on. If you wouldn't mind, if you could please just stay on my question, because my question was, when a victim doesn't give you a specific date, basically what you're telling me is Fred's going to testify to all that, right?
Yes.
Fred's going to say he was in California all the time because I was sick, or his wife was sick, and you were helping him out, right?
Right, his wife was dying.
So let's leave Fred out of it for a second. How were you going to get the tournament records themselves into evidence?
Well, today I was going to put them in.
I know, but tell me how. Walk me through how you were going to get them in.
Fred plays his tournaments. He plays poker like me. You know, obviously he's not really good, but he can say that. I mean, he would say that. Yes, we drove to this tournament together. We went here together. We ate here together. Basically, you got a guy that will say, I was at this point in time, I was in this state. That's why I knew I didn't do this. That's why I knew it was all made up. Because, Your Honor, also, getting to the Facebook, if you look at the Facebook records that they search, a search warrant, you would never see anything in there from 2014.
I know, but we talked about this. Let's stay on topic, okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Fred. So, Ms. Collins, do you have any representations to make in regards to Fred and the records about the poker tournaments?
The court is accurate that none of that has been turned over to the state. I don't see the legal foundation to get those documents in without a stipulation. I mean, if Fred is gonna come in here and say, you know, he was in California for all that time, obviously that's on a witness. That doesn't necessarily lay a foundation for the document. So, I mean, it doesn't rise to the level of a mistrial as long as we're clear that those are the totality of the documents that he's alleging have been misplaced or.
Right, so the poker tournament records, as well as what we talked about before, the 2 flights and the rental cars, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't know how many flights it was. It could have been more because, you know, I mean, it's a year window or whatever the
Well, it's
prosecution
maybe
got.
a year, because you don't know what year it is. You've already said multiple times you're not sure what year it is.
Well, I know that in 2014 I was flying.
I literally,
Well-
I literally asked you 3 times, and you told me 3 times you don't know that.
2013, 14, or 15, that's what I said.
I respectfully feel like you change your story multiple times to fit whatever's happening. It happens almost every single day that we're
Your
in here,
Honor.
and it's frustrating when I'm trying to make a clear record, sir.
Your Honor, I said 2013, 2014, 2015.
No.
I didn't say one specific year. Also, Your Honor,
Just so Miss Collins, you've never seen these documents, correct?
No, ma'am.
And so are you stipulating to the existence of these documents, or you have you've never even seen these?
I have never heard this before today.
Okay. So, it's the defendant's, claim that he had all of this, and that it's all gone missing while he was at the jail. I will represent that on Friday, he did have the opportunity to go through everything while the CO was here, and he went through all the documents, and he didn't state anything.
Nothing was missing Friday, Your Honor. Nothing was missing Friday. It's when I got taken back to custody, stayed another 12 hours I never said nothing was missing Friday. All my documents, I said maybe I left something in the car, but then I thought, no, I didn't leave nothing in the car, I got it all up. I didn't state anything was missing Friday.
Okay.
When I got taken back into custody, after my court date, when they took me down and you had me released,
Right.
I was locked in a cell 12 hours until they let me out. That's when my documents was unsecured on a locker. I basically got out of jail. I didn't sit around and check. I was checking in the jail, they wouldn't allow me. I got home, and that's when I noticed the documentation missing. Now, Your Honor, with a case like this, I think, I should have all the documents possible to defend myself. So if anything was missing on the prosecution side that they think is relevant, she would want it. So why can't I have my documents?
I'm sure she would, and at this point in time, if it was the second week in trial and she had never turned them over to you, I would tell her, sorry, that's against the rules. So,
I have house arrest calling me back, Your Honor, that's where the lockers are located.
okay,
That's where the lockers are.
just 1 second, Miss Collins, I'm looking up something really quickly. Alright, sorry, go ahead.
Were copies of these items given to Mr. Mueller's office when you gave him your alibi witnesses?
No, all I gave him was an alibi. I fired him a long time ago.
Well, you fired him a couple weeks ago.
No.
You fired him like the week before trial started.
No, I didn't.
I was on the phone with
Your
you
Honor, I fired
in
him.
his office,
I
you and
fi-
Miss Collins.
When I was on the phone with you and Mrs. Collins in his office, I had fired him. Okay? He put in a motion for me to come to court. He says, I'm trying to move it up. And they tried to have me retain them. I refused to retain them because they refused to do any work. Felt like I was paying for nothing. So I said, I'd rather go to court alone. First, I went to Kelsey Bernstein. She said that she could take this case. She's familiar with Mrs. Collins, but she said she would need some time. I advised her that I will not give 7, 8 more months sitting in an ankle bracelet while I suffer.
Okay, so,
So Your Honor, when documents are taken, go ahead.
So let me get this right. He wants a mistrial. What does he think? We're just gonna start over on Monday? He's taken, I'm sorry, I'm talking, Mr. Davis. He's taken every opportunity to destroy the record in this case. If the court is satisfied with his motion for mistrial, if you want to remand him, call a mistrial and appoint him a lawyer, the state is fine with that, honestly.
alright, so pursuant to discovery obligations by both parties, NRS 174.245 discusses disclosure by defendant of evidence relating to defense, and it discusses the types of evidence that should be disclosed to the prosecution. The prosecution owes that same duty to the defense. Handing over documents that we still have no proof ever existed, or if they did exist, what they are of. In the middle, we are in the second week of trial. The defendant's motion for a mistrial is denied. I'm still not satisfied that these documents existed. If they did exist, like I stated, we're in the second week of trial. This is the type of evidence that should have been disclosed weeks, if not months ago. Secondly, the defendant has not noticed one witness that would be able to bring these in. There is not a custodian of records for a plane, an airline company. There's not a custodian of records for a rental car company, as well as these alibi witnesses, I mean, basically what Ms. Collins is saying, at this point in time, she is so frustrated by what's going on that she's willing to let Mr. Wolf come in and testify as an alibi witness, even though the proper alibi witness, filing wasn't done. So the defendant's motion for mistrial is denied.
Okay.
We cannot continue to be doing this. It's 1:30. Every time we come in here, this jury sits for hours. What else do we need to handle before this jury comes in?
Your Honor, I want to put in a motion to draw out the testimony of Vanessa Robinson. It's plain,
Okay, if you'd like to file that, you may file that, and I will give the state an opportunity to respond. That can be filed in open court.
Right, I filed it downstairs too.
Oh, it's already filed, great.
And it's plain to see that the court saw it, but the inconsistency
Okay, so
of the
no, we're not
statements.
hearing that right now. Just because it's filed
Okay.
doesn't mean we start hearing it. So, he stated that he filed it downstairs. Is there a file?
Yeah, it's already.
All right, and has it been served upon the state?
Before we keep going,
Yeah,
where did these documents come from?
Hmm?
the defendant's.
We don't take your, they've all been filed, Your Honor.
Okay,
So can we hand them back to him, because we can't keep taking these documents?
sure. So those have been filed. They should be updated in the Odyssey. Ms. Collins will have an opportunity to look at those and respond. Anything else before I bring the
Yes.
jury in?
Yes, I want to file for prosecutorial misconduct.
Okay, did you file that downstairs?
Yes, I did.
All right, so we'll have a copy of that.
Okay. And I want to file a motion for you, Your Honor, to recuse yourself from this case.
Okay, that's already been decided by Judge Jones.
That was a different one, this is a new one.
Based on what?
Based on the heightened risk of unfair trial, I'm asking you to recuse yourself. The simple fact is that I was thrown in jail. My rights to a fair trial was hampered greatly by you having me put into custody.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir, that's not a motion for recusal. If you're stating that your motion for recusal and you asking for something to happen because you went to jail for a few days are two different things.
Your Honor, so I got 10 pages of this, and in order to defend myself against a case like this, it's hard to do it when you are stripped of your ability to go to the law library, you're stripped of your ability to use the phone, you're stripped of your ability.
Sir, you were there for 24 hours.
Wrong.
Less than 48.
I'm willing to bet on that too.
Okay.
It's no way I was.
So you
way
want me
over
to
40 hours.
recuse myself because you went to jail for 48 hours?
Your Honor, it greatly hampered my case, and it gave the DA a very uneven. It made this playing field very uneven.
Okay, was
the
that
DA
filed?
Yes, it was.
Okay, thank you. It's noted for the record.
I also filed, the grand jury indictment is beyond the statute of limits.
Okay, you filed that 3 times already. That's noted for the record.
No, this is the first time it's filed, Your Honor.
No, you filed that multiple times. Motion to dismiss for the statute of limitation being run. We've discussed that over and over and over again.
Yes, you never gave me an answer on if this case is past the statute of
Sir, yes,
limitation.
I
You told me
did.
that you would.
I explained to you very politely multiple times that is a sufficiency of the evidence argument. That had to be put in a what? I know you know it because you said it last week too. What does it have to be put in?
What does that mean?
Yeah, if you wanted to file that, it had to be filed as a
Affidavit.
petition for writ of habeas corpus. I asked, would you like time to file a petition for writ of habeas corpus and we can continue this trial out? You stated no. So I've already ruled on this multiple times.
That was different, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, so it's filed, noted for the record.
Also, Your Honor, this is double jeopardy. I asked if this case is dismissed due to double jeopardy. This
Okay,
is the
and have
same.
you filed it?
Yes, I
All right,
did.
noted for the record, thank you.
And I asked this court to call this trial a mistrial due to the simple fact is, when I went to trial, I was stripped of my ability to defend myself because I came from a holding cell. I had no time to prepare the night before.
Do you acknowledge that we offered you additional time and that you chose not to take
No,
it?
no, this is the other day.
Yeah, I remember.
I was offered more time for what?
On Friday, you were offered more time for your opening statement. You stated no. You were offered more time to prepare your cross-examination. We said we would continue the trial until Monday, and you said no. Do you remember both
No,
of
I
those?
don't remember that.
Okay, well, the
I'd
record
like to
will
see that
reflect
on the
it.
record, because that was not an option. I would have automatically took
Ms.
it.
Collins, do you have anything to say?
Because of the concerns he expressed on Friday morning, I offered him time to prepare an opening. He refused it. I offered him time to review his paperwork regarding cross-examination from Ms. Robinson. He refused it. He said he would just go forward anyway. And I think even the court reiterated my offer. I don't have a reel-to-reel in my head, but I know I offered him more time on both grounds.
I was never offered any time. If you said, if this
The
court would have
record-
said, okay, we'll give you a day to get out of jail and to go home and get your situation, everything straight, I would be an idiot not to take it. I was offered nothing. I was taken from jail and brought to this court with all my stuff messed up, in my jail clothes and all my stuff, no sleep deprived, no access to the law library, no access to the phone. So obviously, I would have said, I'll take it.
Okay,
I
the
would've
record
taken
will
it.
reflect what happened.
So the court saying that I was offered that
I
is
can
not
tell
the truth.
you, looking at you 110%, I said, sir, do you need more time before you give your opening statements? You said, no, I want to go right now. When Ms. Collins was done, I called you back up, and I said, would you like more time? You said no. Then, when you stated that you couldn't be ready for the victim, I said, we'll start with Ms. Collins, and then after she's done, I'll give you the opportunity. You said, nope, I don't want them to be all weekend just in what she said. I want to go right into it right now. That's exactly what happened. The record will reflect all of that. I'm 100% positive.
Yes, the record would reflect it. More time isn't saying, you never said, okay, you can have a day and come in Monday fresh and have everything ready. This court has been rushing this case from day one. It's been rushed.
All right,
Mrs. Collins,
your motion
DA,
is denied.
Okay.
Call the jury in, please. We are not
DA,
doing this
Mrs.
anymore.
Collins has been given a great, just want to make me defenseless.
Just ask the court that you reminded me of the one last week.
In regards to the comments,
Yes.
all right. So in front of the jury, there will be no comments except for questions towards the witnesses and objections.
All rise for the entrance of the jury. All members of the jury are present, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are back on the record. In C-342946, stating Nevada versus Raymond Tyrone Davis, who is present with his standby counsel, Mr. Klaus. Chief Deputy District Attorney, Ms. Collins, is here on behalf of the state. We're still in her case in chief. Because of some scheduling issues, we are actually not going to be continuing with Vanessa at this point in time. Ms. Collins will be calling her next witness, and then we will return to Vanessa tomorrow afternoon. Ms. Collins?
State House Detective Art Martinez.
Your Honor, that wasn't ordered, was it? He's supposed to be the next witness.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your name stand, please. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you. You may be seated. Please state your name, spelling both your first and last name correctly.
My name is Arturo Martinez. It's A-R-T-U-R-O. Martinez, M-A-R-T-I-N-E-Z.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Detective. Thank you for your patience. Could you tell the ladies and the gentlemen of the jury how you're employed?
I'm employed through Clark County. I'm with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and currently a detective with the Sexual Assault Unit.
How long have you been employed with Metro?
Approximately 17 years,
And how long have you been assigned as a sexual assault detective?
approximately 5 years.
Tell us just a little bit, what does a sexual assault detective do?
Well, the duties of a sexual assault detective is to investigate any allegations of a sexual assault crime involving either adults or juveniles. Our job is to gather all the facts and present the case to the DA's office if it's going to go forward, or deem if it's something to investigate.
Turning your attention to July 23rd of 2015, were you a sexual assault detective
Yes, I was.
assigned to what division within sexual assault?
I was with the sexual assault detail swing shift unit. So that means we start our shift between 3 p.m. to 1 a.m.
Were you assigned any particular age group to investigate?
Not with that unit. That unit investigates all adult victims alleging of a sexual assault and all juvenile victims alleging of a sexual assault.
Because swing shift combines those responsibilities. Is that
That's
right?
correct.
Are you familiar with a woman by the name of Esther Brown?
Yes, I am.
And who is Esther Brown?
I recall she was a counselor or somewhat of a therapist for the Clark County Juvenile Hall facility.
Are you familiar with her work with the Embracing Project?
Somewhat I am, because she had emailed me on her job duties.
On her letterhead, basically?
That's correct.
Did you receive information from Ms. Brown in July of 2015 regarding a Vanessa Robinson?
I did.
And what did you do in response to the information you received from Ms. Brown?
So on July 23rd of 2015, myself and Detective Shane responded to the Clark County Juvenile Hall Detention Center. We made contact with a female juvenile identified as Vanessa Robinson, who was 14 years old at the time. Prior to our arrival, we had information from Miss Esther, who reported to personnel there at the juvenile hall that Vanessa had disclosed about a sexual abuse, or disclosed sexual abuse allegations involving another adult male. So myself and Detective Shane responded that day, and we interviewed Vanessa Brown at the facility.
Vanessa Robinson?
Vanessa.
I'm sorry, correction, Vanessa Robinson.
Is there an objection, sir?
Yeah, object. I don't know who Vanessa Brown is in this case.
I think the correction was made. Objections overruled.
There is no Vanessa Brown in this case, is that fair, Detective?
That's correct.
You interviewed her, did you record that interview?
Yes, I did.
Was Vanessa in custody at that time?
Yes, she was.
Do you know what she was in custody for?
I don't recall what she was.
Do you know if it was a probation violation?
I believe in her statement she had mentioned that, yes.
After,
I object, Your Honor. Can we,
What's your objection, sir?
she asked him, do she know what she was arrested for? Obviously, the detective would know.
Okay, so do you have an illegal objection, or I can't do speaking objections, but if you have a legal objection, I'm happy to hear it.
Yes, his statement is basically saying he didn't know what she was in jail for. If he's a detective, if he goes
Mr. House,
interviews.
would you mind just speaking to him briefly about a legal objection?
So I would just like the officer to clarify, but, I mean, either look through his records or whatever, we can find out why she was in jail instead of saying robbery or probation or whatever violation. So.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, so with the objection
Withdraw,
withdrawn at this time?
withdraw.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed, Ms. Collins.
Thank you. Did Vanessa give you a name of the person that she disclosed sexual abuse about?
She did.
What name did she give you?
She gave me Raymond Davis.
Did you know who Raymond Davis was when Vanessa gave you that name?
I did not.
Tell me what you did to try to discern who she was identifying.
I asked for a description for Mr. Davis during our interview, and she described older black male adult with no hair on his head, and stated he was probably in his 30s or 40s, and she had also given me a prefix number of his cell phone at one point in time during the interview, which started with the 562, and that's in an area where she believed he lived at, which was the area of Vegas Valley and Nellis Boulevard, I believe, in her interview.
So based on that, did she indicate to you whether or not she had any Facebook conversation with this person?
She did.
Did you review any of her Facebook information at that time to try to discern who Ray Davis was?
The only thing I reviewed was a name given for the profile that she had, or the name given, which was a profile that she had provided at that time.
Did you, once you
Yeah,
gathered?
I object, Your Honor. Can we go more into that? I don't understand what his answer was.
Okay,
That he investigated a profile. I just need more details of that.
so, all right, so,
I don't understand.
sure, so, you can get into that on cross-examination. So the
Okay.
objection's overruled.
Withdrawn.
Okay.
Withdrawn.
Given the area of town that you knew this person lived in, as well as the description that Ms. Robinson gave you, what were you able to determine?
I was able to find the exact location of Mr. Davis's residence and head over to the office and identify Mr. Davis through that means as well.
Okay. And what was that address, remember?
It's 3055 South Nellis Boulevard, apartment 2145.
And that is in the area of Nellis and, is it Vegas Valley?
Vegas Valley and Nellis, yes.
And that's here in Las Vegas, Clark County.
That's correct.
Did you confirm that, you said you went over to the apartment, did you go to the office, what did you do?
Yes, I went over to the office and they had given me the apartment number. I went over to the apartment, to Mr. Davis's apartment to attempt to make contact with him and schedule an interview, and I had left a business card at his residence.
And when did you do that?
I believe that was January of 2016.
Between the time of talking,
Your Honor, can I get that date again, please?
January of 2016.
Thank you.
between the time you saw and interviewed Vanessa till you went over to Mr. Davis's apartment, what did you do in the interim?
I was attempting to locate a possible witness at the time, which was another female juvenile identified as Adriana Walker, and another juvenile by the name of China Rolls.
Were you able to locate those individuals in the interim between the July of 2015 and the January of 16 visiting the defendant's apartment?
I was not.
Did you compile a lineup?
Yes, I did.
And tell me about that.
So after I identified Mr. Davis, I compiled a photo lineup, and I was having a hard time trying to find Vanessa Robinson. So I had finally located her, and they had given me a location at the Caliente Youth Center, and I had communicated with a Tyler Peterson there, who was personnel there, and I had gave him very minimal details of the investigation due to the fact that there's a juvenile involved and it's confidential. But I did request the photo lineup be completed with Miss Robinson, and the photo lineup was mailed over to Mr. Peterson, and I'd say within a month I received the photo lineup back completed by Miss Robinson.
Okay, and when was that?
That was around the same time frame, January of 2016.
When it was returned to you or when you sent it?
Both.
Okay. Did you cause the original of that photo lineup to be sealed and placed into evidence?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Showing you what has been marked as the external envelope is state's proposed exhibit 2. Do you recognize the exterior of that envelope?
I do.
How is it that you recognize it?
It has my signature, and I can recognize my own writing.
Does it also have an event number consistent with this case regarding Raymond Davis?
Yes, it does.
And did you cause that to be sealed and placed in the evidence vault?
I did.
Anything about the exterior of that package look like it's been mishandled since you put it in evidence?
No, it is not.
State would move for the envelope admission 2. Did we admit 2?
Okay.
I apologize, I thought
That's
we
okay.
admitted 2. If you could, inside that envelope, there are 2 separate sets of documents in there. If you could pull out 2A and take a look at that for me, Detective.
Okay.
Have you reviewed 2A?
Yes, I have.
Do you recognize 2A?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That's a LVMPD photo lineup.
What's unique about that photo lineup and how do you recognize that particular one?
Well, this particular one has my writing on the bottom where it says officer's name and P number. It also has Miss Robinson's name and information, and it has Tyler Peterson's name and information. It also has a photo of Mr. Raymond Davis.
And which photo in that, within 2A depicts Raymond Davis?
It would be the one that's circled and with the name of Vanessa Robinson on it.
Do you see Ray Davis here in court today?
I do.
Where is he seated and what is he wearing today for the record?
He's seated to your right, and he's wearing a green t-shirt with green, I believe they're green camouflage or military pants.
May the record reflect identification of Mr. Raymond Davis.
It shall, thank you.
Thank you. After you received the photo lineup back, did you cause a search warrant to be issued?
Yes, I did.
And tell me about drafting and issuing that search warrant.
After I identified Mr. Davis, I made a preservation for the Facebook company, and the warrant was executed, I believe, on or around April of 2016. I don't have the exact date, but it's around that time frame.
I want to talk to you about the drafting of that search warrant. Specifically, what items did you request?
I was looking for any communication with between Ms. Robinson and Mr. Davis.
Let's talk about the dates that you put in your search warrant. What time frame did you put in your search warrant?
I believe it was January 1st of 2015 to the present time, which would have been, I don't have the ending date, but it was probably May or April of 2015.
Okay. Now, was January 1st of 2015 the correct start date for that search warrant?
No, that was not.
What would have been the correct start date for that search warrant?
I should have put January of 2014.
The information you had from Vanessa would have included 2014, is that accurate?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I object. Basically, Officer Martinez,
Well, I'm gonna object, is there a legal objection?
yeah, I mean, his dates, he just
Well,
admitted,
objection.
he just admitted that his search warrant was the wrong dates.
Okay, so if at any point in time, there's something that you want to address with him on cross-examination, make sure you notate that down.
Okay,
But in regards to objection, it has to
I
be.
withdraw.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Collins.
Based on information you had from Vanessa, should that search warrant have included Facebook information from January 1st of 2014 through April of 16, whenever you issued it?
That's correct.
Did you receive a return from that search warrant?
I did.
And tell me, when you ask for information from Facebook, tell me specifically what you asked for and tell me specifically what you got back, because it's a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Yes. For this specific case, I recall requesting the communication or messages between both. And with that duration of January 2015 to the present time that I requested it, also any contact information of said individuals in this case, any, I think you call them low geolocations of where they would have been at when the messages were sent.
So when you say the individuals in this case, just so we're clear, you're talking about Vanessa and Ray Davis, correct?
That's correct.
And how about Adrian Walker?
I did not request a search warrant for Ms. Walker's Facebook profile.
When you issued your search warrant for Facebook, so your warrant encompassed Ms. Robinson's profile, is that correct?
That's correct.
Mr. Davis's profile,
That's correct.
and that would include their contacts and any communications between them, correct?
Yes.
When Facebook sends you back all that information, is that just a couple, 3 pages? What kind of documentation are we talking about that the return for this search warrant entailed?
Well, it's a lot of information. I recall one of the profiles had over 1,400 pages that I had to go through and just extract the pertinent information to this case, because it includes all communication with other individuals, all pictures, all emails or phone numbers. And so it was a lot of information to bring out, and it also included information with communication that, in this case, Raymond had with Miss Adriana Walker.
Officer, if I could get you to get me, I think it states 4 through 10.
It's just, so Marcelo Kelly will walk them back and forth.
Run up the record, reflect, and showing Mr. Data states proposed 4 through 8, been previously provided in discovery.
Okay, thank you.
Detective Bennett.
Your Honor, I object to this. I would like to vote.